I'm taking a break, and so I decided to do an Ask Me Anything video, answer some questions. I always get loads of questions, and this is a chance. I'm here in this beautiful place on the beach. Let's go to somewhere quiet and answer some questions. And yes, I'm using an e-bike. Very convenient too. Oops. I put 3. I barely pedal, and it goes to 25 kilometers per hour. Very convenient, but don't tell me you make an effort with your e-bike. Come on, look, I'm barely pedaling, and it goes to 25 kilometers per hour. Rosetto Beach. We are going to Dino's chalet on the beach. Lido, aka for our Spanish friends, Chiringuito. That's Dino's Chiringuito. He packed up for the winter.
Funziona?
Here is Dino.
Bike touring.
Minimal effort. Boom, boom. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room, the e-bike. Davide, are you another scumbag shilling e-bikes on eBay? Of course I am. The friends of Heatway contact me if I wanted to try their e-bike, and obviously they leave me the e-bike, and I get to sell the e-bike, and I need some money to pay for health insurance, so I will sell this e-bike. The Heatway BK15 4.0, because it has 4 inches tires. It's a fun, nice e-bike for the town, perfect for the beach. You can ride on the beach. You can ride on the snow. It's nice. I get to sell it. They sell it for about 850 euro on their website. Maybe you can click the link I put in the description. So send them some love, so that maybe in the future they send me another e-bike. And I get to sell it for about 450 euro. Those money I will use to pay for health insurance, because now I'm leaving Europe and I need health insurance all the time because I'm getting old, and yeah, shit happens. I posted on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube for questions. You guys send loads of questions, maybe a bit too many. I will try to answer them all. I will try to call out the names of the people that submitted the questions, but I'm sure I'm gonna butcher all the names. Don't get offended, don't get it personal. It's just, I'm a little dumb, and I'm very limited, especially with the languages, names, anything related like that. Let's go with the first question. Lu Purata, ¿cómo te sientes? The questions were submitted in English, in Italian, and in Spanish. I will call them out in the language that they were written. I will put the subtitles. I will answer in English, so you need to read the subtitles. I always publish the videos with so many languages subtitles, from French to Arabic, Spanish, Italian, Persian, Turkish, Polish, German, Russian, Chinese, anything. So just turn on the subtitles in your language on the YouTube. So Lupurata asks, ¿Cómo te sientes? Great, I'm on the beach, enjoying time with my friends, eating good food. I go around with an e-bike. An e-bike, if you never tried, you only need to touch the pedal and it goes alone. Zero effort, zero, -1 effort. So I'm feeling great. Sea Breeze, what's your favorite route area to cycle in Spain? I now live in Spain. For the last 2 years I've completed the mountain bike route El Camino del Cid, Defense of the South, the Ojos Negros. Your video inspired me to do this. Love your channel. I love you back because you watch my channel. My favorite area to cycle in Spain is Andalusia, because I like hot and dry weather. But also there are the mountains, there is the desert, there is the beach. I think it's a very diverse region in Spain, and it tends to be the hottest, so I love it. And there are some great routes that I publish also on my videos. I did the Parque de Cazorla, which is a great route. I only did half of it, and I did the Desierto de Tabernas, Sierra de Baza. Then remember I got to Almeria, I did the Trans Nevada, also very nice, very diverse, because Trans-Nevada is not one route, but you can do different routes around the Sierra Nevada, and yeah, it's a great route. Then I went to Morocco, went back, and I did Badlands, which is part of Trans-Nevada plus the Desierto de Tabernas, Sierra de Baza, Desierto de Gorafe, Sierra de Baza, Desierto de Tabernas, Cabo de Gata. So great routes. There is another route that I didn't do, the Trans-Andalus. I mean, there's so many good routes you can do in Andalusia. I love it. Leszek, do you have any insurance when you're traveling? What country you've been to is best for touring when it comes to how much money you spend a day? So, two questions. First question, do you have any insurance? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends on how much money I have and where I am. I had health insurance for the Americas. I had health insurance for most of Africa. The last few months it expired and I didn't renew it. In Europe, no. In Algeria, yes. And now I will leave Europe, so I will purchase another health insurance. It's very some are cheap, some are expensive. Who knows? To be honest, I usually went for an Italian insurance that is very expensive. It's supposed to be reliable. I will try to shop around for when it comes. When I leave now Europe. However, when you buy insurance for bike traveling, you need to check two things. A lot of policies, they consider bike traveling, bike touring, bikepacking, and extreme sports. So if the policy doesn't cover extreme sports, you're out of luck. And another thing that you need to consider that is very important if you are on the road for a long time, or you plan to be on the road for a long time, is most of the insurance you cannot renew them. So you can buy a year, you can buy 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and then you cannot renew them while you're on the road. So make sure that your policy is renewable while you're on the road. Otherwise, you're out of luck. Max, what are the best solutions to protect from water? Gloves, helmet cover, shoes, trouser, jacket. Well, you don't need a helmet cover because you don't need an helmet. For the other gear, rain gear, I made a video a few years ago. It's still the same. I think I made 2 videos. Once talking about rain gear in general, and then another one reviewing the rain gear that I use. So I will put them in the 2 links in the description of this video. You can go and check them out. Those 2 videos, they are actually 6 videos because I publish it in English, in Spanish, and in Italian. Javier Moraleda submitted his video. So let's hear his question.
Hola Davide, como seguidor tuyo, aficionado al bikepacking y a la fotografía, tengo que hacerte una pregunta. De todos los lugares a los que has viajado con tu bici, ¿dónde has sacado tu foto más especial? Y cuéntame la historia que hay detrás de esa fotografía. Gracias y un saludo.
His question in English is, of all the places you've traveled to, where did you take your most special picture? I took I don't know, tens of thousands of pictures, and some are nice, some are less nice. I'm not a great photographer, I don't claim to be one, but there is one picture that I love and I published a couple of times, and it's a picture that I took in Santa Marta, Colombia, outside the house of a host where I met Joaquin and Jacqueline, a couple bike traveling in the Americas, in South America from Argentina, and Maria and Ulises, another couple, mixed nationality, Spain and Mexico. And there was also our host, a crazy guy that lived for 25 years in the forest with the guerrilla in Colombia. It was a crazy house, crazy setting, and crazy environment, and that's where where I was taught how to travel. So that's when I got to Colombia, I learned how to travel, and it was Joaquin and Jacqueline and Ulises and Maria, they taught me how to travel without money, how to be resourceful. For me, that is the most special picture. I would like to frame it at some point and make a giant and put it on a big wall when I'll be old and a cripple, and I will watch at that picture and I will get emotional. Omidta, why did you opt for a front-loading setup? Thank you for your great work. Keep going. Jamie Swan, Davide, a couple of questions. You always mention front-loading. Can you talk about the pros and cons of front-loading, how the bike handles, etc.? Are you planning on touring Australia, New Zealand one day? Will you be doing any of the trails in those countries, like the Mason Trail and the Munda Biddi Trail? Ryan Burns, when are you coming to the land down under, where the woman glows? I want to see those women glowing. I will, if I don't die before I get to Australia, I will do Australia, New Zealand, hopefully. Australia, New Zealand, also I'm not a big fan of places where there is lots of rain, but I will try to do New Zealand as well, but definitely Australia, and I will try to do the routes there. I'm very ignorant. I have no idea what are those routes. I never saw anything about it, but if they are nice routes, why not? I will do them. About the front loading, yes, front loading, it means, guys, I always put most of the gear on the front of my bike. Why do I do front loading, or what are the advantages of front loading? My suggestion is pack the bike as you wish, as it comes more natural to you. There's no major difference between the traditional packing style and front loading or bike touring and bikepacking. Do it as you like, or mix and match. I mostly do front loading. The advantages of front loading are basically three. First of all, it gives you better handling, especially on loose terrain like gravel, sand, on descents as well, because it gives you more control. Think about the fact that if you have a trailer, the bike is very difficult to control. So the more the weight is in the front, is better to control. There are better distribution of the weight on the bike, because if the things you carry are on the front, your body already sits mostly on the back of your bike. So even though I put basically all the weight on the front of the bike, still my back tire wears out quicker than the front tire. And the third advantage is that the climbing is a little bit more efficient, but it's very marginal. So do as it comes more natural to you. There is no right or wrong. Paolo Chiasera, ciao Davide, hai mai viaggiato con la MSR Hubba singola? Paolo asked me if I ever traveled with the MSR Hubba tent. I travel with the MSR Hubba 2-person tent. The MSR Hubba is the 1-person tent. I made a review of the 1-person tent. I made a comparison video between the Hubba and the Hubba. So Paolo thinks that I travel with he asked me if I travel with the Hubba because I made the videos. And yes, I did buy the Hubba when I was in Lima in Peru, because I was downsizing my gear because I had a herniated disc when I was in Cuenca, so in Ecuador. So when I arrived in Lima, I had a place to stay for a little bit, and I tried to change the gear and downsize it, buy something smaller or something lighter. From for example, from a synthetic sleeping bag, I switched to a Dawn sleeping bag, things like that. And I tried also to change the tent from the Hubba to the Hubba. So I bought it and I used it one night in the desert of Paracas in Peru, and I felt like I was in a coffin. I felt like I was trapped there. There is no enough space for me, and it feels very claustrophobic. There is no space to put your dirty clothes, your cycling clothes, or some gear. I hated the Hubba, so I had given my Hubba to a friend, an Italian friend that was traveling back to Italy, and I called him as soon as I reached a place that I had connection the following day. I was like, please, did you go to the airport, leave it in the city, I'm coming back to take my Hubba. And yeah, I used the Hubba one night, and then after the reviews that I made in Italy, I sold it to Luca, another bike traveler from Brescia. Laura Kelland May, what's your I can't live without it piece of gear that is a must-have for cycle tourists? For me, there isn't. Most of the gear I carry, I need it. Otherwise, I wouldn't carry it. There are a few things that I bring for comfort or for peace of mind, but anything I carry, it's essential. I carry a tent. I couldn't travel without the tent, or I carry a sleeping bag. I need a sleeping bag, otherwise or the quilt. I'll be freezing. And the sleeping pad, if you don't have the sleeping pad, you're not insulated, so you freeze. And the rain gear, the rain jacket, the rain pants, if it rains, you're wet and you're miserable. Anything I carry 6 bottles. Yes, you can take away one, and then I don't have enough water for what I need. Everything is essential, in my opinion. Otherwise, I wouldn't carry it. Couple cycling. Have you ever had problems with your wheels? Cracked rims, broken flange? I think you're new, because I had so many problems with the rims, and I broke 2 rims the first few thousand kilometers in Africa. And then I replaced them, and those ones I had to replace them again, because once I got back to Europe they were gone. Then I replaced those 2, and I broke other 2, and now I'm using a new rim. All these rims that I've used, they were from WTB, and they were the ice scraper, and I used, I think, ice scraper 40, 45, different sizes, but yeah, those were the ones. I used the Com Tough, also from WTB, and I broke them as well. And I used and now I'm using the WTB, I think they're called the HZT or something like that, and they're really tough. Those were developed for e-bikes, and they seem to be very strong and long-lasting. I put them through loads of abuse for over a year, I think now, and usually by now the other models, I would have broke them already. Those are still standing, so I really feel to suggest this product. Rims, broken flange, I think you mean the hub. Yeah, I broke several hubs. Mostly they wear out, especially the Shimano ones. They wear out. The other ones you can replace the bearings, so I had to replace several bearings. But the San Riglé back hub last year on the Trans Nevada, it started to lose the free wheel. Basically the wheel, I couldn't stop pedaling. The last day I couldn't stop pedaling, and yeah, by the time I arrived in the last few kilometers, I arrived in Almeria, it split in half. I will put some picture if you can see it, but it split in half, and I never seen something like that. But yeah, I split the rim in half. William Van Jaloof, what percentage of your track is off-road? How do you compose your tracks? What navigation device do you use? I use the phone. to navigate. And then the percentage of off-road, it really depends. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's less. If I want to do some transfer days, it's mostly paved. If I'm following a bikepacking route, sometimes it's a lot. It really depends. When I was in Morocco, it was a lot. In Algeria, I tried to be a lot on off-road, but it was very difficult to find off-road, so it really depends. There isn't a fixed percentage. Sometimes I feel like to do as much as possible. In the winter, for example, when I was in Northern Europe, yeah, you don't feel like doing off-road because the weather is miserable. It's either raining or snowing. If you go off-road, you in deep mud. Sometimes it's really impossible to pedal in deep mud. It's insane. Yeah, you can do it for one day for leisure, but if you're traveling for like a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, you're on the road, it's really impossible. You can't do every day, be covered in mud, the bike covered in mud. It's really messy. Zin or Zine, Capitan Zin, any advice for motor bicycle tour in Algeria, and what would you do different if you ever come back? Well, I don't have any suggestion. Just do your own tour, do your own experience, and live your own journey. Every people have different experiences, and just be open to live whatever experience you feel. If I had to go back, obviously I would organize my journey a little bit better, because at the end I lost 1 week because for something a little bit bureaucratic, and the fact that I was taking the ferry and not the plane, so the ferry was once a week. I did a mistake putting down the dates on the visa, and I didn't know that the visa was only 4 weeks. I thought they were gonna give me 90 days, so I wasn't very precise with the dates. Because yeah, if they were give me 90 days as they usually do in every country, it would have not been a problem. So I would be a bit more careful with the dates that I would choose for the visa, starting the visa, and yeah, I would do a different itinerary, because now I know the country and I know a little bit the geography of the country and what to expect. So I would do a different route, but easy to say afterwards, you know. Sabine and Uwe, they hosted me in Germany. They are traveling now in South Korea. We would like to know how you keep your motivation always on a highway level. I don't know, like I'm not a very energetic person. I'm usually like on a low level, and I stay like that. So I don't have highs, I don't have lows. I'm a little apathic, but it works for me. I mean, I'm not depressed, so it's all good, no? But yeah, like I try to enjoy, I live in the moment. I try to enjoy the experience in the moment. Try to enjoy day by day and live the experience, the people I meet, the conversation I have, and the route I'm riding. And sometimes it's nice, sometimes it's less nice, sometimes it's a fucking hell route, sometimes it pisses me off, but yeah, it is what it is, and you just accept it, you know. There are good days, there are bad days, you just need to enjoy the ride. And that's what I try to do. Randy, qual è il tuo prossimo obiettivo? What's your next goal? And quali sono gli aspetti più tediosi delle tue giornate? What are the most tedious aspects of your days? Okay, next goal, basically I'm heading towards Istanbul. I think I will take a longer break in Istanbul for the winter. If I get there by December, end of December, I think I will take maybe January and February off in Istanbul. And during that time, usually it's the time that I use in the winter, even last year and the year before, to do a little bit more editing the photos, editing the video, posting all these, writing captions, documentation. It takes a long time to do all these things. That's why people always say, oh, you have a backlog. At the moment I'm publishing the photos and the reels and the videos of Algeria on Facebook and Instagram, because either I live the experience when I'm on the road or I think about social media. I can't do everything, so for me the priority is to live the journey, live my experiences, and then posting on social media, it's an afterthought. I try to keep a regular schedule with YouTube, to post one video a week on YouTube, because the people that follow my adventure closely on YouTube, they are the most generous. There are a few people that watch the video, maybe send a donation or a super like or something like that. So it rewards a lot of effort that I put into these things, and maybe it's not much, maybe it's little, maybe it's a lot, I don't know, but at least it's something, and it keeps me on the road. And also, like, to publish a video on YouTube, it costs me at least 1 day of work, a full day of work, because I need to edit the video. It takes a long time. Sometimes I start from an hour and 20 minutes of footage, and I have to cut it down to 20 minutes, so I have to watch it so many times. Then I have to fix the audio, I have to fix the framing, I have to put the music, I have to edit the photos, put the photos, because I put postcards at the end, which are photos. So many people, as soon as they see the end, they click off. But some people enjoy also to see the postcards, and I like it. And then I have to render it, wait that it renders. Then I have to basically transcribe the audio to make the subtitles, and then I have to upload it on YouTube, and then making titles, descriptions, and translate it in all the languages, as I said: Arabic, Italian, Spanish, French, German, Polish, Spanish, Portuguese, Turkish, Persian, so many languages, Chinese, Japanese, everything. And the second question, what are the most tedious aspect of your days? Is usually when I get up in the morning and I have to pack everything. That's really the most tedious part of my day. Then packing the bike, it's a drag. So sometimes I wake up and I'm on my sleeping bag and I'm cozy. And now, for example, the days are getting cold and I have to leave my sleeping bag and pack everything. And then I get cold because you have to put on clothes that are cold from the night. Maybe they're a little damp as well because they were humid. That's the most tedious and annoying part of my day. Is the start of the day. Then once everything is packed on the bike and I'm good to go, that's a different story. Palma in bike, come prevenire l'umidità che si forma internamente nella tenda, how to prevent condensation inside the tent. It depends, because if you're in a dry place and you let some openings, some of the zippers of your tent open, so that there are circulation. If you have some vents on the tent and you left them open, or some windows or something like that, there is circulation of air, and all the condensation of your breathing through the night, it can escape the tent, so it doesn't build up inside your tent. So that's that, because I think we exhale something like 2-3 liters of water during the whole night, and that water, if you're close inside this confined space, it might condensate on the walls of your tent. So that's one thing. If you're in a dry place, it works. If you're in a very humid place, there is nothing to work. Nothing is gonna prevent condensation. You will wake up in the morning that the tent is wet inside, outside, everywhere, because there is the 2-3 liters of water that you exhale, plus there is all the humidity and the dew that builds up from the environment outside, from the ground. So yeah, in certain situations you cannot escape that. I've been a lot in Spain, which is quite dry. I was in Morocco, which is quite dry. Also like Algeria, the north is a bit humid, but then if you go south, it's quite dry. For example, I got to Spain and I got to to France and then to Italy, and I was amazed. I don't know if it was a very humid summer, or yeah, I didn't remember so humid, so I was like surprised. It felt like the tropics. And in these environments it's almost next to impossible to keep the tent dry. Also, Palma in bike, come ti trovi con il setup della tua bici? Cambieresti qualcosa? He's asked me if I'm happy with the setup of my bike and if I would change something. I think with this bike the setup is dialed in, and I wouldn't change. No, I think I will keep it the same. Hopefully soon there will be a new bike. It's like 2 years that I stay in that, but because I don't have money to buy a new bike and I have to rely on sponsorship, and there is always a problem here or there. But hopefully soon there is a new bike, and it will probably have 99.99% the same setup. I have no idea how to pronounce this name. It's in Spanish, and yeah, it's not a real name. Yabi Sandro. ¿Te ha cambiado el viaje? ¿Qué te aporta viajar por tanto tiempo que echas de menos? Did traveling change you? Did traveling for so much brought you something? And what do you miss? I feel traveling didn't change me. The only thing that changed, it made me a little bit more resilient towards things that happens, and the little things that problems that you might have on the road. You might break something, or you know, the gear fail, or something unexpected, or some problems, or you know, things like that. That now at the beginning they were affected me in a more dramatic way. Now I'm a little bit more resilient. I expect them. Obviously, I'm not happy when they happen, but I know that somehow I will be fine, you know. And with a bit of time, everything gets sorted. And the second part of the question was what traveling brings you. Traveling for a long time brings you. It makes me content. I'm content to do this experience, to try to finish this project that I have, and this goal that I have to cross all the continents on my own manpower. But yeah, it makes me feel content. I personally, I feel I'm doing some amazing experience. For me, it's something extraordinary that I'm doing, but for other people, it's probably very silly to cycle for so many years around the world. It works for me, and it doesn't have to work for other people, you know. And the third part of the question, if I miss something, que echas de menos? I don't miss anything. I live this experience, as I said many times, I live this experience as a privilege, so I don't really miss anything. Jack, torneresti in groppa la tua prima bici da viaggio o preferisci questa? Jack asked me if I would ever ride again my first bike. For who's new here, in the Americas I had a different bike. It was a Surly Disc Tracker, so a classical touring bike. Would I go back to a classic touring setup? Probably not, unless I have to, and maybe my bike gets stolen and I'm given a Surly Disc Tracker, or you know, or it's the only one I can afford. I don't know, but yeah, ideally not. But having said that, as I always say, you can travel with any bike. You can travel with this one, you can travel with your granny bike, you can travel with any bikes. but some are more enjoyable and more fun than others. Matteo, quali sono i tuoi prossimi piani di viaggio? Dove andrai ora? I already explained that I'm heading towards Middle East. We will see the situation in the Middle East. It's evolving at the moment. It's evolving for the worse. I really hope for the people that live in the region that there will be some sort of stability, peace. I'm heading towards Turkey. Ideally, I would like to do a loop in the Middle East and do Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Saudi, Oman, back in Iran and follow the Silk Route into Asia. We'll see whatever is possible. Otherwise, I will reroute and yeah. I have no interest to visit war zone, so I'm not going to Ukraine, and obviously I'm not going to Palestine and Israel at the moment. Dominic, how do you find the perfect camp spot? Because I'm scared of bad people. Your question is not how you find, how you find the perfect camp spot. I always said, you find something hidden, away from large body of waters. If there is a roof, it's better. If you're in a humid place, or if it rains because you're dry, level. I mention many times, but your question is more that you're scared, because I'm scared of bad people. If you hide yourself and you place your tent in a location where nobody knows that you're there, even if you are surrounded by bad people, how can they know that you're there? So the thing is, you never pitch your tent before the sunset. That's one thing. And you always need to be careful and mindful that there is no one that sees you riding to your camping spot. If you are in a situation where there is loads of people around, just go to a house and ask, can I camp in your backyard? Or go to the council and ask if you can camp in the sport arena or at the church. You ring the church and you ask if you can pitch your tent somewhere around the church or inside the courtyard or something like that, or the mosque. At the mosque, usually they are much more welcoming than the Catholic, and they're usually very welcoming. They even give you food. And the mosque, they have water to wash yourself and clean yourself, because they have to clean themselves before going to the mosque. So it's a good place to camp. Bro, come fai senza inzicchiare? This is an Italian that asked me a question with a word, a verb that I never used. But I think his question is, how do you do without shagging? Who told you that I don't do any shagging? I have a healthy sexual life as anyone else. There are dating apps. Sometimes I stay in cities. I meet people. I meet even more people than if I was to live in a city all the time. So I have more chances to date and also to shag. Marcus, are you happy with the derailleur gear, or would you prefer a gear system? I never used a gear system, but I have a gear system t-shirt. I have been using this for more than a year now, a year and a half probably. Still, I have a bike with a Shimano front derailleur and back derailleur. Hopefully the new bike will have a gear system, and we will talk about it when I get it. I never used one. I would like to use one, obviously, because it has clearly some advantages. If you get stuck in mud, it's easier to clean. There's no maintenance, or relatively no maintenance. So let's see. Let's test it and then we'll talk about it. Andy, absolute favorite bikepacking equipment item, just one, not including the bike. Andy as well. Everything I carry, it's essential. If I really have to choose one, I don't know, I give you, but everything is essential. I'll give you the frame bag. or the seat bag. I really love them. They are from Porcelain Rocket, now Rock Guys, and actually I saw them on Instagram that the hurricane that they had in the US kind of destroyed their factory. So if you can send them some love, that'd be nice. Would you cycle the USA again, maybe the Great Divide? Yes, I would cycle the US again. I don't think I would cycle Alaska another time. And the Great Divide starts in Banff, I think. Yeah, it's. I would do it. Yes, I would do it. The Great Divide, it's tough. I wouldn't do the race. Definitely not. I done racing when I was younger, and it's not my thing anymore. It made sense when I was younger. It doesn't make any sense to me now to do a competition, but I respect the people that they feel to compete when they are older. Yeah, I would do it, but not the race. I would do just on my own time, basically. Even though it's an area that is full of bears, and yeah, I don't like it too much. You have any family? Do you own a house in Italy or somewhere else? I'm single and ready to mingle, and I don't own any property. I think I own a car if it's still there, but yeah, I should have sold it when I left in 2015. It's just that I thought I was gonna leave for a year and a half and then go back, but yeah, I should have sold my car. Kuminus, what motivates you to travel by bike all the time? I personally feel like a trip every 2 years is enough. As I said, I have this goal to cross all the continent on my own manpower, and I do it very slowly, but this is my thing. It's not for everybody. If you're happy with one trip every 2 years, that's okay, that's fine. I mean, most of the people that lives in North America, especially in the US, they get 1 or 2 weeks vacation per year. So if they want to do like a month or two trips, they probably do it every 2, 3, 4, or 5 years. I don't know how they can build up the vacations, but yeah. Nika, how are you dealing with mostly being alone on the road? Yeah, I'm comfortable with my own self. I think, yeah, if I was with other people, I would become annoying and annoyed. So, yeah, it's also nice to. When I was in the Americas, I would meet people and share maybe like 4 or 5 1 week together, and then we split and meet up again, and that was nice. That was a good balance. In Europe, I mostly didn't meet anyone, so yeah, I did now the route with Dino, Ale, when I was in Portugal, that we did like 4 or 5 days together, and then I met the odd person here and there, like Oriane, or you know, the guys in Cannes, but yeah. It's mostly alone, and it's okay. And I think it's a great experience alone, because you meet more people if you're alone. Because when you're traveling through a place, you interact with the environment as an individual. But already if you travel as a couple, it's a group that has to interact with the locals. So the dynamics are a little bit different in my experience and in my opinion. But I think, yeah, it's a good balance. It would be nice to travel here and there with another few people. Especially there are people that I travel with that I really get along very well. And it was Ulysses and Maria, Joaquin and Jacqueline, Gerd, the Canadian guy. It was nice, even though sometimes we clashed a little bit. But at the end of the day, I think it was a good experience for me, and hopefully for him as well. And then in Africa, basically I was alone all the time, and in the Balkans I met Luke. I would like to travel again with Luke. I think he's really patient, he has a good sense of humor, and yeah, it's someone that I would love to travel again. Yeah, if you find the people that you get along very well, it's nice. Also, not for a long time, but like for a week, 2 weeks maximum, then it's okay. Then you need some alone time. If you've been alone a long time, like I did, I have my routine. When you're with other people, it's always a compromise. You always need to let them know what you're doing. It's like, now I need to pee. Okay, now I need to take a dump. But when you're alone, if I feel to pee, I pee. If I feel to stop and put my sunscreen on and stop, or for eating something, when you're in 2 or more people, it's always a compromise. You always need to ask, are we going to stop? So you lose a lot of freedom, in my experience. And also, as I said, the other aspect is the interaction with the locals. If you're alone, there's more exchange. If you're in 2 or more, it's a group that interacts with the locals. Nicolino, ti piacerebbe a fine viaggio creare un documentario del viaggio? Nicolino is asking if I would like to make a documentary about my journey once the journey is done. There is already a documentary somewhere on YouTube in Italian about my journey in the Americas and in Africa. I was interviewed for many hours, and I provide them with the footage. So I think they put together a documentary. I never watched. So am I interested? Probably not. I do this experience for me, and I share it with the people that want to follow with my YouTube videos, but I'm not looking for fame or anything. So yeah, if they do it, if someone wants to do it, I will supply the material, but it's not a priority, and it's not something that I particularly seek or aspire to. Rimvid asks, how is your Genesis Longitude holding up? Would you change it for any faster gravel bike? The Genesis Longitude is holding up just fine. I mean, it shows the sign of being on the road for probably over 60,000 kilometers. So, I mean, it needs some maintenance at the moment, but I'm trying to hold, because maybe there will be a new bike. So it's a waiting game at this point. But if I had to use this bike also in the Middle East and in Asia, I need to change the whole drivetrain and I don't know, the brake levers, change all the cables, and probably needs a paint job now. We'll see. If I get a new bike, I will sell it and yeah, use the money for health insurance. Jeremy, how much do you spend average in a month? I have no idea, because I don't have a fixed budget, and I try to be as frugal as possible. I think in Europe, if you put a bit of effort, you can spend less than 10 euro a day. So I'd say between 200 and 300 euro is okay. Then if you break some gear and stuff like that, we probably need a little bit more. But realistically, yeah, you can go buy for less than 10 euros. Unless you really, and if you cook yourself, or you buy bread and cheese and you buy at the supermarkets, and yeah. Then if you want to eat maybe meat or vegetables or fruit, things like that, I think you need maybe 15 euros per day probably, yeah. And if you're really, really scrappy, I think you can go buy even for less than 5 euros per day. So I think the monthly budget is a bit of a bullshit. It depends on your mental frame. If you think you need 50 euro, you will need 50 euro per day. If you are convinced that you can travel without money, you will travel without money. Eder, tienes que retensar los radios muy a menudo. He's asking me if I need to retension the spokes of my wheels often. No, I think if the wheel is done properly by someone very skilled, you barely have to touch it in thousands and thousands of kilometers. Sabate is good, this lifestyle? I think it's great, man. All right, the last few questions from Facebook. Gary Roberts, do you carry a two-man tent as to spread out inside in times of rain? Yes, I carry the Hubba Hubba. I will put a link in the description to the review. I will also put a link to, I made a video, it's a guide to how to choose the best tent for bike traveling and bikepacking, so you can have a look at one of these videos. Gary Roberts, how do you keep your electronics charged? Pedro Castro, ¿cómo cargas los dispositivos electrónicos? Hugo Ricardo, ¿cuántos cargadores llevas? ¿Cuánto tiempo de autonomía logras? All these three people ask the same question. How do you keep your electronics charged? I carry a power bank, and it's a big power bank. I think it's the maximum you can take on an airplane. I think it's 23,000 milliampere or something like this, or 24,000. And it really depends. If I use a lot my phone, meaning I use it for navigation and I used to listen loads of podcasts during the days, it lasts me with this phone that has a very old battery because it's a very old phone. It lasts me around 4 days now. If I don't listen to podcasts, it lasts me almost double, so maybe like 8 days. And I carry a fast charger, and I can charge this power bank in 3 hours and a half. So if I stop somewhere for food, like McDonald's or Burger King, or even if I go to a supermarket and I ask if I can plug in, or a bar, and I can plug in my power bank, from 0 to 100, 3 hours and a half. Ferruccio Terran, do you ever think to give up permanent touring and settle down somewhere? Looks like you've never been to Central Asia. Any plans for that? We talked about our plans. Do I ever think to give up permanent touring and settle down somewhere? Yes. When I finish crossing all the continents, then I will do something else. ZC, hi Davide. What are your favorite methods to earn money to fund your trips? We talked about this in the first video. So the first Ask Me Anything videos has answers about how to make money on the road. So please go and watch that. So Mark, we omit the last name because he wants to be anonymous. The best dating app. I think Bumble is the best dating app. Also Tinder sometimes works well. Hinge sometimes. That's it. For me, I'm heterosexual. And then, yeah, if you have other kind of lifestyles, there's probably better apps, which I'm not aware of. All right, it's getting dark. I see a full moon there, almost full. I will show it to you in a moment. Thank you so much for submitting all these questions. I had a fun time answering them. Hopefully my answers were satisfying for you. And next time, if you want to submit a video along with your questions, like Javier did, please do. I will be happy to feature many of you guys in these videos. I don't know when I will do the next one. But yeah, keep an eye. I usually post on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube post when I'm about to do these Ask Me Anything videos. And again, thank you very much for following my adventure. I'm very grateful for you guys, your support, for the people that watch the video, likes my content, share my content or send me some donation or buy my postcards. Thank you very, very much for gifting me this lifestyle, for letting me having this dream of crossing our planet with my own manpower through my bicycle. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. We will resume the vlogs every Sunday, 2 o'clock Central European time. As usual, like if you wanna like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified when I publish new videos. Do whatever you like, whatever it works for you. I'll see you next week. Ciao. Look at the moon.